Okay, we're here. The South Sound Connection Live number 11. Okay, so our first guest is here. They have arrived. Here we go. Good morning, Tom.
Hey there. Still waiting for Etaane. I think we clicked the Google Hangout. I clicked the Google Hangout. I didn't know it was a StreamYard link that I was supposed to click.
It sends a Google Hangout at the same time?
Yeah, so there's a Google. So at the top of the calendar it says join with Google Meet, and then it's meet.google.com/da-da-da-da. And then underneath that it says link to live, and then there's StreamYard. I'm like, okay.
See, for the most part, I usually send an email with the instructions, and I thought maybe I could kill a couple birds with one stone and send. I wonder if I can turn the Google Hangout thing off, but if you send it through the Google Calendar, it's probably what it wants to link you to, right?
Right. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, I apologize for sending conflicting.
It would be for Etaane.
What's that?
Is the link that you sent me the same that it would be for Etaane?
Yep.
Okay, let me send that to her real quick, because I think she clicked the same one that I did.
Yep. I'll revert to the email moving forward.
All right, here. I think she's coming in real soon. How you been, man?
Good. Yourself?
I'm well. Yeah.
So you turned the plant dad into a business, right?
I guess so. I wasn't really expecting it. It came along kind of suddenly. Etaane is actually the one who approached me, so she would have the best forward intro
on that. Okay, yeah. Let's bring her. It looks like she showed up. Here we go.
Hi, I clicked on the wrong link, you guys.
I apologize. I sent. I guess it had the Google Hangouts and the StreamYard, so I got to be clear about that. So
yeah, that's all right. No worries.
So I know Tom, right? I think I've met Tom before in the past.
Maybe I don't know. It was maybe
it's been years
maybe 24 years ago.
Oh wow!
When we were 16. Yeah, full disclosure, John and I went to high school together.
Nice. Wow.
I think I met him in 9th grade actually, but it was in the end of the year.
Okay.
You didn't go to Frontier?
Or? Yeah, I did. March of 1996.
Okay.
When I moved there. So
oh geez.
I moved there in March of after everything happened, and then that's when I met all of you guys.
Yeah. Crazy. Okay. So junior high. So we go back even further.
I guess so, yeah, we go way back.
I thought we went to junior high, but
just 9th grade though, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, say your name again.
My name is Etaane.
Etaane. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. That's very cool. So how did Tom and Etaane meet and then decide to create this box of goodies?
Yeah, so it's actually kind of a funny story. I met Tom through the Washington Carnivorous Plant Group on Facebook. He was giving away some gemma, right?
Some gemma from a little pygmy carnivorous plant.
Yeah.
This one doesn't reproduce through flowers. It just, after a while, it matures, it grows little half-formed baby plantlets on its head, and then you can put those off and put those all over your other landscapes and whatnot, and they'll grow into new clones, basically, of the parent.
Yeah, yeah. They're super weird. And I was totally intrigued. And that's actually how I got into carnivorous plants in the first place. So thank you, Tom, for that. But yeah, we ended up meeting that way. And immediately I found out about some of his coffee background and all this stuff. And I had already been kind of hatching this plan for about a year. The previous year, one of my friends, Amber, I used to do the Fremont Sunday Market with, she and I brainstormed at one of the markets, and I was like, hey, what if we created something that was like a plant shop, but there's also a cafe inside so that you can go in and enjoy these beautiful plant displays, right? And she said, wow, that's a really great idea. I would love to do that with you. And then she kind of got tied up with her own things, and I just kept pursuing it. and was like, all right, well, eventually I'll find a cafe partner and figure it out like down the road, right? So I meet Tom and I'm like, okay, maybe this is like the exact person that I kind of need, somebody that already has plant experience and orchid experience specifically, and is like entrenched in the cafe world, like the coffee world. So then last year, I think in March, was it March?
I think so. It might have been even earlier.
Yeah, it might have been like February, because
it could have even been in the end of 2019.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it might have been. Yeah,
it
was a while ago, but I brought it up to him and we did a Zoom call, and he seemed pretty interested, and I was like, I don't know, like we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, and
it was a good motivator for me, honestly. Yeah, I think it was probably around maybe March or February or so last year, because I had just gotten laid off from my coffee job at the end of March.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think I needed some motivation to, branch out into something. I've kind of been hesitant to work with public again, not necessarily because of, well, a little bit because of like what's going around the world right now, but I'd also been doing it for like 20 years, and I'm kind of a little burnt out on public in general, not just their germs.
Understandable.
And so it became like an opportunity for me to like be like, hey, time to stretch out, see what else you can do in the world that's not necessarily customer service based, but isn't not customer service based. It's a little detached with the you got to order from the subscription and the websites and whatnot, but I think honestly, then that way we can cater to you exactly what we think is the best, rather than a menu of a million different little things to do. So it's kind of like a coffee and plant of the month club in a way.
Yeah. So it's a little plant, and tell us about your feet are in both aspects of it, but tell us about the coffee. Where do you source it from? What are people doing?
So my end of the business is the Drake Cafe, and I actually go to various coffee vendors. I've sent out some emails and gotten in touch with people to get feelers out there if they want to expand their marketing and potential customer base with people who are out of state. I think last month we sent a box all the way to Wisconsin. I think there's one we even went to the East Coast. Is that right, Etaane?
Yeah. I think one went to God, I don't know. Was it New York? It was nice. Somewhere like that. Yeah. It was pretty cool.
The coffee I sourced for last month was from a local cafe. I'm going to try to do as many local places as possible. Yeah. They were called QED. They're a wonderful roaster. I used to work with the owner as a barista back in the day, and they're making beautifully sourced and beautifully roasted coffees, small batch. This month, we're going with one of Etaane's friends from a roaster called Pilgrim. And they're just up on Aurora. What's the area called?
It's like the Oak Tree Village.
Oak Tree Village,
yeah, right off of Aurora. There's no coffee shops in the area, and they actually just opened their flagship store. I don't know if they're officially open today, but it's either today or tomorrow, and I'm very excited for them. It's really cool.
All coffee comes from Starbucks, and all plants come from Walmart, right?
That's what you would think, right?
We're definitely trying to undercut the big box stores for what's going around. People don't leave their houses quite as much these days. Pivoting to an online retail was smart for Etaane and I think, and it also allows a little more discernment for our customer base. People who like the coffee experience, miss the plant shop experience. They can kind of get a little bit of that delivered to their door.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Like you said, you're sending to Wisconsin and the East Coast. Do you feel like, are there communities like Seattle and Portland, the weirder communities, quote unquote, Is there a lot more of that out there than we know of, or is it only Seattle and Portland?
I'm sure that there are small niche communities. I think it has more to do with like there's a huge, Seattle has like a reputation as being like the coffee place.
Right.
So we kind of are in a good spot to ship out this like it's almost like novelty coffee. I don't want to say that, but it's kind of like, we're like the hub of coffee to a lot of places other than like outside of here. So I think that there's a little bit of draw there, and we do push the Seattle brand pretty hard. And the fact that we do everything locally kind of draws in people that do live in Seattle and want to experience some cafes that they maybe, or roasters that they haven't kind of heard of. I think that, I think we're in a pretty good spot as far as that. I'm not sure about communities that are weirder than Seattle and Portland. I would be interested to see what those communities are personally. I don't know what you think, Tom.
Yeah, there are little coffee communities all over the country, which is good and bad. People are now starting to catch up with Seattle in some regards. They're like, well, maybe Seattle's not the best. It is though, and there's no competing. And I think the reputation will definitely carry at least the coffee brand, and being from the Evergreen state and whatnot, we can also capitalize on that for the plants.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it's like we not that long ago went to Florida, and that was because it's like West Coast is Starbucks, right, and East Coast is Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, yeah.
And for all the crap people give Starbucks, it's definitely better than Dunkin' Donuts. So
I would agree with that.
I don't know if you remember this, Tom. This is probably before we met, but my mom and my grandpa, our family opened one of the first espresso shops in Moses.
I didn't know that. Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
It's called Espresso Break. Because you came to town post Walmart. So Walmart changed the landscape of the town quite a bit.
I moved there after Walmart was already well established.
Yeah, so we had Espresso Break, and then Taco Time, was competing, but they had the machine, and that's exactly Dunkin' Donuts. When you go and you get your espresso, the person goes boop boop boop, and then your espresso, comes out of the machine. So, and that's pretty much what you guys are doing, right? There's the machine for the orchids and the machine for the coffee.
Yeah, if it only works that simply. The hardest part, I think, is been just realizing like what materials we're going to need, and then how to like streamline getting all those together, and what our budgets for that is going to be. But what's great is like most of our vendors do wholesale and bulk. So we have now our foundation. All we need really each month now is to grab some coffee and some plants, and there you go. Now you have your stuff.
Yeah.
We did it kind of slow and steady, and smart.
So for people that are interested, what can they expect? I noticed on the website you can do a one-time thing, right? If you just want one setup, and then there's what you guys are really shooting for is the subscription based, and people can sign up. So if somebody, where do we go to sign up for the subscription based, and then what can someone expect, every month?
Sure. Well, we launched it originally on my website, littleorchidannie.com, but it's also available on the Drake Cafe website. Tom, if you want to mention the name of that, yes, thedrakecafe.com. And I would say that like I try my very best to find plants that are pretty robust, so that when you order your plant box, even if it's delayed, even if it's shipped in winter, you're going to get like a really nice healthy plant, and you're going to get instructions that come with it that tell you how to take care of the plant, and when to repot it, stuff like that. Very basic instructions that aren't really like heavily bogged down in detail. We're catering to people that are potentially like very beginner plant growers. So making it really complicated, like you can make it really complicated. That's the thing about the plant world, is you can make it very complicated. You can get into the nitty gritties. You can get, as basically like as hands-on as you feel like getting, But with the plants that I choose are not only like really interesting plants and really diverse. I try and also make sure that they are super, super robust and easy to care for, even if you don't have like an ideal light situation. So people living in Seattle would really appreciate that, because we don't necessarily have the most amount of light. Like bright direct light is not something we get a lot here. And even if you do have bright direct light, sometimes it's not even enough, and you need plant lights to supplement for stuff like cacti and succulents, and even like some carnivorous plants, some orchids as well. Yeah, I've got plant lights for all my orchids. So we try and send out stuff that has like a really high success rate, so that you can feel good about caring for a plant, and you can feel like, it's more of a Zen thing than like a stress thing, because there's definitely plants out there that are very stressful to take care of, I would say. So that is what you can expect on the plant end. And Tom can maybe talk a little bit about the coffee.
Yeah, on the coffee end, I'm including a little bit of brewing instructions, nothing too esoteric to get you bogged down in the weeds, just a real cut and dry. And then information about the roaster, where the coffee comes from, and how the coffee has been processed even. So it gets a little bit into the details for those who really, really want to know. But I always also include a link to my website and the coffee roaster's website, so that you can glean as much information as you want from the source if you choose to do so. I try not to get too heavily info. I tend to really want to go there, so I have to edit myself a lot.
It is true. It is definitely hard to like what information do people really want to know, like when it comes to these things. And I've discovered through just like trial and error doing markets that less information is better for most people. Like if you can the more you can boil something down, especially for beginners or people that are not necessarily entrenched in either of these worlds, like the more you can boil it down to just like its essence, the more people will kind of retain. I have found myself at markets definitely saying, like, just rambling on for long periods of time about plants, and then realizing that they've just like totally checked out about 5 minutes ago. So I try not to do that with the boxes, and I think so far it's going pretty well.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you guys would have blogs or further posts on your websites if people really want to get deep into it, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Well, awesome. So the websites, we've got them on the screen, Little Orchid Annie or the Drake Cafe. Get your plants. I've been watching, Tom, your Facebook and like Instagram, and it's pretty serene to see someone care for a plant, so
thank you.
I see
Etaane has a beautiful plant stream as well on her Insta.
Yeah,
I think it's also a Little Orchid Annie.
Yeah, it's the Little Orchid Annie. Yeah,
on Instagram as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice. And I'm at Sir Thomas Drake on Instagram, nice. Or the Drake Cafe as well.
Yes,
awesome. Well, we've got. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. We've got another guest coming on. You guys are welcome to stay, or if you've got things to do. I guess this is the Moses Lake episode.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we're bringing on Sean Solis. So
I don't know if I know him.
Do you guys want to stick around?
I think I need to get some food.
Yeah,
breakfast, but I'll watch the rest of this episode for sure.
Yeah,
thank you so much, John.
This was awesome. I love this.
All right. Thank you very much.
Love you, man. Bye.
Boom. Another South Sound Connection live. SSC live, in the bag, as the kids say. We got the shirts for 2021. Brian Close of All American Restoration Services out of Tacoma designed this sweet design that has some of the skyline views from Tacoma, Washington. Obviously with the retro Seattle Supersonics vibes. So got these made by Single Speed Screen Printing, who was a guest on the show. Even people that root for the Blazers can do good work.
LeBron James.
So we hear this all the time. We're on the street. What is a South Sound Connection? We're just trying to highlight good things in the Pacific Northwest and adjacent. entrepreneurs, business owners, artists, community leaders. You've probably seen, you've seen about us, you've heard about us. We've had Corbett Mosley talking about his game success factors, Lindsay Ward, who won the September 2020 challenge, Kevin Bates from Helping Hands House, Adam Norwest. We gave away some free burritos from Grit City Breakfast in Tacoma. Crystal Hart Meeker, Save Albany Now. Tony Taylor talking about supporting and hiring veterans and his inspirational talks. Chad Kurligan, The Men, Emotions and Music. Meg Hawks with single speed screen printing. Mindy Baker with the beautiful Tacoma murals. Ken Brown talking about community involvement as an organization. Corbett Mosley again gave us an update. And most recently, Jack Cameron from Tacoma Stories and Sierra Hartman from Grit City Magazine talking about keep telling good stories. So that's what our goal is. Like I said, All American. If you see this logo around town, they're a local general contractor that specializes in insurance claims, water, fire damage repairs. They can help you work with your insurance company and get your house back to pre-loss conditions, as we say. And also the DYOJO podcast. The DYOJO podcast. That's thedyojo.com/SSC if you want to know more about this show. And just a quick pitch. I wrote my second book. This is a collaborative effort on culture. Developing a thriving culture, talking about taking care of your culture because it takes care of your people, which leads to taking care of your customers, which leads to taking care of your profits. So you can check that out on the website as well. But please check out our great guests. Check out our sponsors, All American Restoration Services and the DYOJO podcast. And if you hear something that you think should be shouted out, please let us know. Thank you. Have a great Pacific Northwest day, and we'll see you next week, every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, South Sound Connection, SSC Live. Hit me with that outro music from Pat F. and Brown, Cosmonaut Coffee.